Okay, guys, and one, a two, a three, four, five, and go. So, guys, I was really reluctant about making this video because, like, I think I posted something on my Facebook and got into some argument with some guys about how AI is going to take our jobs and how it is doomed and whatever people like focusing on. And I just want to just rant a bit about this because I do not believe AI can take our jobs. That's just my belief, my opinion. But let me just say this. I'm a 3D artist and I work in the industry, and I sometimes look for tools to use to make my work easier. So I've tried the world of AI, and I have to tell you, I am freaking impressed. Like, some of the tools these AI guys are bringing out are amazing. I have a friend who used it to do something cool for a client. Like, I think it was a backpack, and it passed, and it was really good. I was impressed. I was like, wow. He even showed me some of the stuff, and I tried it, and I was like, whoa, this is really shocking. And for that moment, for a blip of a second, I thought to myself, like, man, AI is going to take our jobs. Because look at, I if someone who is not skilled in 3D can actually just type something and it can generate a 3D model, and you can just get something you can use for your 3D, and that would be like that's mind blowing already. But as I went into the whole thing, and I started diving into it, and I realized that, oh, this is not scary at all. This is just my mind, my state of my mind saying that, oh, you should be afraid because something is threatening your job. And I believe that's what's happening to a lot of artists out there. Like, a lot of artists are threatened by AI, which technology for me has never been a threat. At least in the long run, it had always been good for humanity and even good for the artists. I remember when, like, Toy Story, I think I read about this. Toy Story came out, and that was like the beginning of 3D, and everybody was jubilating for 3D. In 2005, Disney switched totally to 3D with Chicken Little, I think, and artists were crazy. And I believe artists are very egotistic, and we have to be, because it's like you're putting yourself out there in your work. And 2D artists were like, oh, our jobs are gone. The 3D has come to take our jobs. And it's shockingly stupid to say that out loud now, because 2D and 3D work together harmoniously. Like, they are infused together. I can't even do a 3D work without using 2D references or getting some 2D illustration to actually try and mimic that 3D. Like, as a character artist, I can't. That being said, I'm not saying like some 3D animators will not slide out of the industry, because, oh man, we are going to do 3D animations and we don't need 2D animators anymore. But that is not entirely true, because I know I watched Flash animation by Warner Bros. Recently, and that was 2D animation, and it was freaking amazing, and I enjoyed it. And anime is still doing 2D animations. That just brings me back to my point. It's like, humanity, we are very complex beings. Like, as much as technology came to, 3D technology is here and it's coming to take some few jobs, we need to evolve with technology. It's the same thing like a traditional painter getting mad at a digital painter, saying that, oh, you're not doing real art because you're doing it from a computer. And maybe you're a traditional painter, and technology came out and says, oh man, 2D digital painting is better, and you should use this one. And more people are making more money than the traditional painting, for example, because it's new and everybody's jumping into it. But that doesn't take away from your own traditional painting. Yes, you might lose some few clients, but humanity still prefers specificity. Well, you get my point. And there are paintings out there that are selling for billions of dollars. Like, yeah, I know some traditional painters out there that are actually really successful. And even in the digital age, people prefer a real life painting. I know someone that's like, I don't really like digital painting. It doesn't just feel real to me, or the strokes are not just, it's just weird. I'd rather watch. I know YouTube channels that make millions of dollars because they paint and just put a camera on top of their paintings, and they're just painting, and it's just a satisfying video to watch people paint. and they're using oil paint. They're going to buy materials and they're painting on the canvas, and this is a digital age. So what I'm trying to say here is like technology will always infuse with humanity in any way. I think that's just where we are going, or where humanity is evolving to, is that we're evolving to a unison, or what's a better word? We are where technology and humanity will be unified as one. Because it's like your phone, right? It's like you have everything you need on your phone, like technology. You want to browse, you can read on your phone and everything. It's kind of like part of us. Doesn't mean that the library is extinct. I know I've not gone to the library before, but the libraries are still there. Some people prefer hardcover books than digital books. There's always going to be preference. And the AI thing is not great yet. I still struggle with Midjourney, even if I use Midjourney a lot these days. I struggle with it giving me a specific thing. I can't really explain to this technology that this is something I really want, because it's just still going to spew out random shit that it thinks is good for me, or based on a database. And humanity cannot be boxed into one box. It's not possible. I don't think it is, at least. But people still get scared. I think people are always scared of the unknown. That's just the humanity in us. We fear what we don't understand. But technology, if you look back at history, which is the only thing we can use to actually like train our minds and teach ourselves of what humanity is all about, you see that these things happen over and over and over again, and they come as a threat at first, then everybody uses it and it's normal. Like I remember when automatic cars came out, like we would drive shifts or sticks, will be like, you're not driving a car, you're driving your, it's like that's stressful. Like why would you want to do that? Like, but there's still people who rather drive shifts and not drive the automatic transmission. But my point is like nothing is going away. You either evolve. I remember when we started, I've been doing 3D for a long time, and there was a time where you do everything in one software, and that is Maya, for example, or 3ds Max. Like you want to texture, you texture there. You want to add all the grunges, you have to get like grunge map and find a way to infuse it in your texture and everything. There was no substance painter. Highest you could do was go to Photoshop and take your UV map and try and figure out where the edges were going to be. But now we have substance painter. Now we have like Unreal. We have other software. No 3D artist right now should use one software to do anything. It's crazy. It's ridiculous to me. You have to infuse a lot of things. But you can't say because substance painter is out now that the 3D your 3ds Max is messed up. Or I remember just recently, like 3 years ago, Blender came out with 2.8 and everybody was shouting like, oh, Autodesk is dead and Blender is going to take over. Blender is not even scratching the surface yet. Like people are still like contemplating if Blender is the industry standard, and a lot of people would never use Blender, even as much as Blender is really amazing. It's just to tell you that humanity, we don't really like change, and we don't change that fast. As much as AI is coming and it's kind of going to disrupt the market a bit, but it's not going to take anybody's job. I don't think so. It's just going to make you evolve. Like, oh, there's a new software, we need to add this to our workflow, our pipeline. It's like, oh, we need to add AI to our pipeline. Now, people will hire you better if you know how to use Midjourney a bit, if you know how to play with AI a bit. But I don't think AI can rig properly. I don't even think AI can do a lot of things properly. Like, before that time comes, you will be able to evolve to something else. The same way you shouldn't be stuck with one software, like, oh, I'm just using only Maya. You should learn Blender also. You should learn Photoshop. You should learn like Mamset toolbox. You should learn everything and see what works for you. Because you being egotistic and saying like, oh, I identified with this job or this artwork or this thing, is what's limiting you to think that you are a threat. That something external is a threat to you, but it's not. You just evolve, and that's what we'll continue doing. We will never use Maya for the rest of our life or Blender for the rest of our life. Something better, we'll have to switch to that. The same way we will never just be driving self-driving cars a year, and we'll have to switch to that. There will be, I'm sure in the future that driving will be crazy, but that doesn't mean that, oh, because I used to drive for a living, you will learn something else and evolve to it. You still have to walk with the times. Like saying something is going to take your job is silly to me. It's just evolve and grow. When Blender came out, I was using Max, and I was like, oh man, I don't want to use the software, but I ended up using it and learning the software. That's what happens. You learn and you grow. Everybody in the industry, it doesn't mean that art is going to die or one day AI is going to take over art. It doesn't make any sense to me. So the idea of this rant is to just show that, or to just give my opinion out there and say, don't be afraid. Don't be afraid of the future. AI is not coming to disrupt you. Just add it to what you have and grow. And I bet you would be grateful you did. Because when the industry changes and everything, you will be with the times and you grow with it. Instead of sticking with the old way and being egotistic and proud and say, I don't want to leave 3D or anything. Man, use the AI to help your job. Like make it easier, make it faster. If it can. If it can't, continue what you were doing and find easier ways to make things better. Because at the end of the day, the people who are going to employ you will employ you based on your flexibility and adaptability of things. So if you can't adapt, you are going to fall behind. That's just the natural way of things. So don't be afraid. Instead, push and grow. So that's my own 2 cents on the matter, and I hope that makes sense to you all. And peace. I'll see you guys later.